All right, so I have the case Cowan versus Strafford R6 School District. It was heard by the United States Court of Appeals, 8th Circuit in 1998. The facts of the case are you have Leslie Cowan, who is working as an elementary school teacher, second grade, and she is a provisional teacher. And after 2 years of teaching, the school board voted unanimously to not renew her contract for the third year. The question is, why didn't they do that? Why didn't they renew her contract? Well, this is why. It's because at the end of second grade, she sent home a rock with some students with her class, and with that rock, there was a note. The note was kind of fun. It's on page 960 in the middle, and it says, Dear second grader, you have completed second grade because you have worked so hard. You deserve something special and unique, just like you. That something special is your very own magic rock. The magic rock you will always have, will always let you know that you can do anything that you set your mind to. To make your rock work, close your eyes, rub it, and say to yourself 3 times, I am a special and terrific person with talents of my own. Before you put your rock away, think of 3 good things about yourself. After you have put your rock away, you will know that the magic has worked. Have fun in third grade. So, pretty much a magic rock that allows students to feel good about themselves. But the key word there is magic, because that's what upset parents. Parents called the principal Cogdill and said, "Hey, there's a teacher promoting magic and New Ageism in your school." And so Cogdill, over that summer, she then met right before the following school year. She met with Cowan and pretty much said, "Hey, you can't teach these new age principles. Like you have to stick with what we know." And then after that, they even had a faculty meeting where she promoted and suggested that everybody attend a seminar put on by a local pastor about how New Ageism was infiltrating the schools and how to avoid the evils of New Ageism. So they later that year, at that same time, they did give her like a plan of, I forget exactly what they called it, a plan of action, like job targets, I believe is what they called them. The job targets, they're devices used by the school district to indicate areas of needed improvement in a teacher's performance. The job targets issued to Cowan indicated 2 areas she needed to improve: interpersonal relationships with parents and instructional process. So they did have some job performance issues, maybe, but the key here was the magic rock thing. So either way, they kind of butt heads throughout the school year. The following spring, Cogdill goes to Cowan and says pretty much like, "Hey, you should resign because you're not going to be voted in." This is before the board meets. The board then meets. They vote to terminate her contract for the following year, so to not rehire her, not renew her contract, and then it all falls out from there. And then Cowan says, "Hey, the reason you didn't rehire me wasn't because I'm a bad teacher. It's because of this magic rock incident, because she offended the religious community there." And so in the end it went, and the whole case is kind of predicated on whether or not, like, what they're kind of trying to decide is whether or not the lower courts, whether or not they made the right decision by saying, "Hey, she should be reinstated to her job." And they essentially decide that no, she should not be reinstated to her job because there's too much animosity between Cogdill and Cowan to make that a workable relationship within the school. And so they decide not to do that. Instead, they just give her like 2 years' wages, from what I understand, and they go from there. Either way, the issues behind it, the core conflict is essentially the court's it's talking about whether or not somebody can be fired due to not fired, because she wasn't terminated, she just wasn't renewed. Whether or not the non-renewal was linked to religious tainted discrimination, I guess. And so that's kind of where it came, and that underneath the Title VII of the Civil Rights Act, of 1964, and then obviously the First Amendment. There was some. I mean, that's kind of what Cowan was arguing. She's like, it's against her First Amendment rights to be discriminated against because she sent home a thing that was a magic rock, and then the community exploded with the idea of New Ageism, and that they were trying to take or infuse their children with this belief in magic rather than a belief in God. And so that's kind of where the case came down. And in the end, there were a few little things in the case, like whether or not the testimonies were true or whether or not the job targets had anything to do with her non-renewal. What it came down to, though, is that the board members said, like, hey, we trust Cogdill, and Cogdill told us not to hire, and so we didn't. But it was because Cogdill told us not to. And the reason Cogdill told them not to was because of the Magic Rock letter. So it all just kind of ties down, almost like a logical flow there. So that's it. That's the case. Enjoy.